Good evening. What up? How's it going? Hopefully everybody's doing okay today. Just wanted to say appreciate everyone that's supporting the channel, especially the my individuals that's been rocking with me since day one. And I wanted to give a update on or recap, should I say, on my time on King Talk, the on the Lapeef Network. I was first and foremost very honored. Like I was honored that I was able to be on there. One, because me and Jen's favorite show uh, was the Lapeef Network. Let's talk, and for me to be able to get the opportunity to be on the same platform as those guys, very very surreal moment, if you will. I know people are just people, but however, for the fact that she's not here, right, and she just thinking about how she would have been super excited about me being on the panel and being able to share my thoughts and my viewpoints of on how I on my perspectives and how I want to move the culture forward, and just knowing that was exciting for me, right? And so when I got to meet Jr., it was like we had known each other for a little bit, just based on the conversation that we had and similar goals that we aspire to, that we have, and that we're aspiring to accomplish. Um, and I told him from the jump, one of the things that I wanted to accomplish was to be able to have a good platform, a solid platform where I'm reaching people and explaining to them my position on being a dad, being a father, being all those things, being a husband, all those things, right? And also the other thing was for him to be on my channel and me to be on his show, and so I've accomplished one of those tasks, right? And and so I was nervous to a degree. I'm cool with conversation. I enjoy having conversation with people that I've never talked to before, to hear their perspectives and worldviews on things that's going on in our world. And in this case, um, it was about Black love, and me and Jen, we were adamant about making sure that our relationship was one in which people would be able to look at and say, that's something that I aspire to have. Whether it was any particular race, but we were specifically um, invested in Black love in the context of relationships. Because as you know, or may not know, but for the most part, most people know that the Black household is being destroyed right now. You know, and it's a lot of variables that arrive that have allowed that to happen, right? And so I won't talk about those today. I just want to talk about my mindset going in, my mindset during, and then my mindset after the show. And like I said before the show, I was somewhat nervous, but being in the background talking to the guys before the show, they were just regular dudes, and meaning I didn't feel any egos in the room from anyone. Everybody was there to just have fun and have a conversation. Um, and we was in the back talking probably about 15 minutes before the show started, and I felt at home. Honestly, I felt at home, meaning I was able to talk to people like me in different parts of the country with the same agenda, and that is to move the culture forward in a positive direction. And it doesn't always mean that when we're going forward that it's a positive direction. So that's why I state that. And so when the show began, I'm listening for the questions or listening at the question and trying to get my mindset to see where I wanted to go with my statement, and making sure that I was clear in what I had to say. And I never knew when he was coming to me, so it was took me back to being a student or a teacher in the classroom when I wouldn't I would ask a question and everybody had to kind of get their minds together and nobody knew who I was coming to. So it was that nervous excitement, right? Of what am I going to say? When is he going to come to me? And am I going to have my thoughts together before he comes to me, right? And so, that first question about Black love, I kept it very simple and short because I hadn't thought totally about how in depth I wanted to go or how long I should talk. But I wanted to, as a first time guest, I didn't want to use my airtime in the beginning, right? I wanted to build some type of momentum of things that I said. And so as the conversation began, it continued. I would sit back and I'm listening, and when it was my turn, I had my thoughts together a lot better. I had my examples that I wanted to deliver and make sense of, and make sure that people were understanding what I'm saying, and even over explaining if need be, because there are people watching, right? And it was appreciative that some of the guys agreed with what I stated, or and it was appreciative that they would display when they disagreed, and it was a good conversation, because the reason why it was a good conversation is because we were all able to say our piece, even when I disagreed with the part about it being women's fault currently, mostly now, of the reason why relationships don't are not working, right? And then in the midst of conversing with everyone, or just listening, I won't say conversing, but listening to everyone's perspective, whether it was Anton or Trill's perspective, or JB's perspective, and Shannon's perspective, when I heard it, and I began to kind of put my thoughts back together based on what they said, I was like, man, I just had a mind shift in the middle of conversation. Because if we're saying that it's the women's fault, then how did we get here? But I felt right in the statement of how we got there, which was um, the reason why we got there was because women left the house, and I made that point too to Anton, and I don't think we got a clarification. And I wanted to explain when he asked me, uh, when I said, why would they leave? Why would the men leave? And he said, well, you would have to ask them. And he said, well, let me ask you, why are men leaving today? And I said, well, I've asked you a question, and you didn't really answer it. And he said, well, I did. I said, you would have to ask them. And so when he asked me why they leaving today, I said, well, you would have to ask them. And so he stated, maybe that was, you thought you said something profound. I was like, that's not what I was thinking. I was being petty, right? Because I had asked the question to get some type of concrete, I guess, answer, to what he thought of the reason why they would leave, or why they would be the reason to walk out, because they had everything in front of them. But that was a good conversation, and then as we progressed, even when I talked to JB, kind of asking him his thought process on dating outside, of the United States. I wish we could have had more conversation, but we couldn't, or we didn't, rather. And but I but I was able to get a gauge of how their thought process is, and be able to, I guess, hold my own, if you will. I've never not been able to hold my own when it comes to dialoguing about things that I'm pretty passionate about, or clear about, or studied, or have resources on. But it was a moment that I would say I would never forget, and I want to say thank you to JR for saying, I value you enough to have you on the King Talk show. and even asked me back for another session to have a conversation. Um, and my wife would be over the moon excited to hear that. Even when I told my kids, they were excited. And so as I reflect on that particular day, I I think about the topics to come and how I can be an individual amongst others walking together to accomplish the task, and that is to bring the culture to a place in which we are building something productive as opposed to tearing something down. So there's other things that I could say, but I just wanted to keep it short and quick, um, and let you know. Thank you for those that are, new time subscribers. Thank you for those that will be subscribing in the future, and definitely shout out to those that have been with me since day one. And so, without that, you know, nothing else to say. And until next time, we out here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, right? More importantly, for those that are our subscribers, please share this with somebody. Let them know what we got going on. And I'm gonna do my best to be more consistent as I build my channel. And once again, until next time, we out here. Deuces.